Nothing sets the precedence for creativity and fun like games that exist solely to cash in on the popularity of other stuff. Movies, TV shows, snack food. If it can be the basis of a cheaply produced video game in the hopes that unknowledgeable consumers will plop down the cash, chances are it's already been done, and it sucked. But today, we're tackling this topic with our friend Peanut Butter Gamer, so once you see our list, go watch his and see whose you agree with more. Hey, I'm Nervous Nick for Screw Attack's Top 10 Worst Licensed Games.
Have a Pepsi. Next stage.
Number 10.
What's better than a game based on a fully scripted reality TV show?
If you kill it, we grill it. Know what I'm saying?
Hey, you don't have to ask me twice.
Everything. Duck Dynasty attempts to break the cash-in stigma of licensed games by adhering to every reason people hate licensed games. Everybody loves QuickTime events, right? How about no innovation in video games? Yeah, I didn't think so. If you want a game with duck in the title, let's just stick to the classics.
Number 9.
We love James Cameron's Aliens. For almost a decade, Colonial Marines fell and rose in and out of development hell. But in the year closing in on its release, the devs showed off awesome footage of the alien shooting experience we had been waiting for. And it was all lies! What we actually received was a completely downgraded experience from what we were promised. Instead of playing as the die-hard Marines from the movie we loved, we battled alongside cardboard cutouts, facing off against aliens that were anything but the perfect killing machine. Aliens Colonial Marines was more than just a bad game. It was one of the biggest disappointments in recent memory.
How many fingers am I holding up? He's fine.
Number 8.
Even though Telltale's episodic Walking Dead games won numerous awards and are critically acclaimed by just about the entire planet, you didn't get to play as Daryl. Yay. The Walking Dead survival instinct gets players into the shoes of the Dixon brothers, the biggest hard cases in the franchise. Now, maybe you're questioning why Survival Instincts is on this list, because no, it's not that bad of a game in the grand scheme of things. But Survival Instincts comes in at number 8 because we had already seen proof that you can make a spectacular game based on a series. Survival Instincts was proof that you could crap all over it by getting a little too greedy.
Number 7.
When you hear the words current-gen Rambo, what do you think of? Probably a rampaging third-person cover-based shooter where you crash tanks into helicopters or something, right? Wrong. Instead, let's play an on-rails shooter without a light gun. Rampage through all the First Blood films, except for 4 and the new one that's coming out later. Playing Rambo the video game reminded me of how politicians used to say that in Grand Theft Auto players received points for killing police officers. If they knew how the game worked, they'd know that wasn't true, but in Rambo the video game, yeah, that's exactly how this game works.
Rambo! Rambo, don't do it!
Number 6.
When you hear the words current-gen Star Trek game, what do you think of? Probably not a third-person cover-based shooter, but guess what we got anyway? Take Army of Two, make it bad, then rip the flesh off your favorite sci-fi characters and staple it to the avatars you control. That is what this game is. Star Trek was so bad, even Jeffrey Jacob Abrams himself said the game, quote, was obviously a big disappointment to me. It was something that we were actually involved in at the very beginning of it, and then we sort of realized it was not going in a place that we were going to get what we wanted, so we dropped out and they continued to do it despite, you know. No, JJ, we don't know.
Number 5.
It seems like almost every list of greatest licensed games includes the Spider-Man 2 movie game. And for one simple reason, no other game before or since has made you feel like Spidey more than this PS2, GameCube, and Xbox favorite. How do you follow it up? With number 5 on our list. Spider-Man 3 took away the challenge of web swinging and made it boring. But don't worry, it can definitely get worse. Spider-Man 3 for Wii. It's the same game as the PS3 and 360 versions, only even worse. Glitches. Horrible sound design. Glitches. Horrendous visuals. glitches. Next number, please.
Number 4.
We know you're just salivating for us to throw down Superman 64 on this list, and it's definitely one of the first games to come to mind when thinking about awful games. But what's worse than Superman 64? Superman 64 underwater! Somebody took a Superman 64 cartridge, filled a bathtub with water, tried to drown it, and from that death sprung Aquaman. A generation later, and it gave us awful combat, horrible music, and the same basic gameplay as Superman 64. Only now it's murky and mossy, and who on earth asked for an Aquaman game?
Number 3.
Oh boy. Okay, Charlie's Angels, by very definition, is a bad licensed game. Adventure with scary lookalikes of the famed heroines and beat everyone up. I do, in fact, mean everyone. It is pretty cool that the actresses did voice their respective characters, but that certainly didn't help it rise all the way up to a 23 out of 100 on Metacritic due to its invisible walls, terrible animation, and creepy visuals. Have I mentioned how creepy this game looks? Charlie's Angels is a great example of how a bad game that deserved no attention probably gained what fame it has based on people making fun of it on the internet. So, here I am on the internet, putting it at number 3. I'm not helping.
Number 2.
What? But Sonic Boom's not a licensed game. Yes, it is. The game came out a whopping 3 days after the TV show premiered. Technicalities, deal with it. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is fresh enough on people's minds that I don't need to explain why it's so high up, but screw it, doing it anyway. This game is in every applicable sense of the word a mess. The level design is confusing, the puzzles require no thought at all, the segments that should feel like Sonic don't, and all the while, it runs at an average of 15 frames per second. There was even an infamous glitch that allowed Knuckles to infinitely jump anywhere he wanted and completely break the game. While messing around with it, we accidentally skipped a quarter of the game on our live stream. Worst part about it, this singular amusing part of the game got patched out, making Sonic Boom version 1.1 the number 2 worst licensed game. Oh, and on top of it all, it was also the worst selling entry in the entire series. So with Sonic Boom, nobody wins. We all just lose. Only one more game left on the list, but before we get there, let's do a quick recap. Number 10, Duck Dynasty. Number 9, Aliens Colonial Marines. Number 8, Walking Dead Survival Instinct. Number 7, Rambo the video game. Number 6, Star Trek. Number 5, Spider-Man 3 for the Wii. Number 4, Aquaman. Number 3, Charlie's Angels. And number 2, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric.
It's number 1.
Hate to break it to you, but no, you are not psychic. You're just simply correct. Destined to become one of the hottest Christmas gifts of its release year, there is nothing deeper than the legend, nay, the literal hole in which the carts for E.T. on the Atari 2600 had lied in for over 30 years. 5.5 weeks, yes, barely even a month of effort was poured, or rather dripped, into this horrible nightmare of a game. If there is any doubt about the number 1 spot of this list, just remember that it crashed the gaming industry. Look, we complain about games now, labeling 6s and 7s as apparently awful experiences, but we are spoiled rotten in comparison to the gamers of the early 80s who could legitimately blame the downfall of their passion on a single hunk of junk. Yo, thank you so much for checking out our top 10 worst licensed games. After you're done liking and sharing this episode, which I know you're doing, head on over to Peanut Butter Gamer's channel to check out his countdown to see how we compared. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.